What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. I'm BRAVExHERO, and today I got something a little different for you here. I'm not going to make this video too long. I'm going to give my opinion on what Bungie should be doing going forward. Now, hear me out. There are a lot of weapons in this game. There are a lot of good weapons, but when players play often like I do, or maybe you've played the last few seasons, you have a majority of the weapons. Now, when Bungie brings back weapons like the 7 SERAPH weapons, this is nice, but if you played that season already, this does nothing for you because one, the light level doesn't bump up. It's the same light level from when it was issued. Getting into another 7 SERAPH weapon is like the SMG here. This is nice, but I have a god roll sitting in my vaults. This is just one that just recently dropped for me. Again, does nothing for me. If you played the last few seasons, these weapons do nothing for you. If you're in the current season and you're playing the current season, there's very few weapons that actually mean something to you that go forward, which is going to be like the Hailing Confusion here. Now, again, this video isn't here to bash Bungie. Bungie's doing a great job. I love the Beyond Light expansion. You know, the weapons we got with Beyond Light, Europa, the Cosmodrome, the Crow, all those missions, that's fun. But in my opinion, it's lacking a few things. I feel like the current loophole is small. Now, a video I'm going to be doing tomorrow is going to be touching up on why this is happening in the game. Or for right now, Bungie's current loophole that they need to be tapping into is going to be the weapons that have already been sunset. Now, I can't say use the origin story. No, because they've done that already. They did that with the horror story. But we're talking about other weapons. There's a lot of other weapons here that can be utilized. Now, hear me out. 110 hand cannons, or 120, correct me, or I'm correcting myself there. 120 RPM hand cannons. We only got a few in this current season. When they removed True Prophecy, I was a little hurt about that. I wanted a brand new True Prophecy. I do have a pretty good roll, but I wanted a better roll. But they brought back the Steady Hand, which is cool. They brought back the CRIMIL'S Dagger. When I mean they brought it back, it's still in the current loophole, the CRIMIL'S Dagger. But aside from those two, there are no 110 or 120 RPM hand cannons. Now, what Bungie should have done is they should have brought weapons like Home for the Lost back, giving it random rolls, making this in the world loophole. As for something, as a weapon people can grind for, it can drop randomly. Home for the Lost should be a weapon dedicated to the Strike playlist. So if I wanted a Home for the Lost with Kill Clip or Rampage, I can just jump in that playlist and grind my eyes out. The same thing goes for something like the Agamid. Now, I understand this is a dead orbit weapon, but something like this would have been perfect. This weapon right here is one of my favorites. If they brought this back going, all right, guys, this is going to be the, it's got to have a special role and it's going to be in the comp playlist only. If you want this weapon, you need to be in that playlist grinding for it, giving more incentive to play. Now, again, still on the topic of hand cannons, right? I like using my Astral Horizon. I like using the Secession Sniper. I like using all these weapons. There's a lot of good weapons up here that I like to use. The Bite of the Fox. But there's very limited hand cannons that I could use in my energy slot. I can use this new one right here. But I'm not a big fan of the archetype. Now, I could always go into like something like the Sunshot. But aside from that, other hand cannons we had in that slot are now sunset. We're talking about weapons like it's going to be the Kindled. That's sunset. We're talking about the Not Forgotten. That's sunset. We do have the Ancient Gospel, which is cool, but for some players that don't grind raids, you're never going to get this gun. We do have something like the Nature of the Beast. Again, an archetype I don't like. The last only one I can actually go with that's not sunset is going to be the Jack Queen 3. But what Bungie should have done is we don't have any more of these. Go to it real quick. We don't have any more of these Suros hand cannons. What happened to this? This is a weapon I would love to see come back. The Annual Skate, the Minuet 42. Bungie should literally take advantage of all these weapons, throw some random rolls on it, and send it off into the wild. You know, some people might say like,
well, Brave, what about the broken? What if it comes with 2 broken rolls?
It doesn't matter. There's plenty of things in this game that are broken. We're talking about Shatter Dive. We want to talk about broken? Bungie should literally throw whatever rolls possible on these guns and drop them, because in my opinion, these would be awesome guns to grind for. Just another gun to grind for, the Shattered Piece. This is an awesome gun in my opinion. I would grind for this gun. This is one of my favorite guns in Destiny 2 Year 1, and I can use it, but I can no longer get a new version of it. It's always going to be sunset, and it's like whatever. Now, still on the topic of hand cannons again, because someone's going to touch up on a lot of hand cannons. 120 RPM hand cannons for the energy slot. There are currently 0 120 RPM hand cannons, and in my opinion, that's terrible. I want to use my Bite of the Fox with a high impact hand cannon. Now, again, this is where the thin line comes. Sure, it just recently got sunset, but why couldn't Bungie just do a rework of the weapon, throw some cool stats on it, and send it off into the game again? The thing is, what they did with this season, and I'm not a big fan of, is that they limited certain things. If you want yourself a 540 pulse rifle, you are limited to the claws. Why? Because the Horror's Leash is going to be sunset already. This one got sunset. So there's no point even grinding. I don't even know if that strike's still in the game, but there's no point of grinding this because it's sunset. This one here, I don't even think there's a brand new roll to it. If so, where's my kinetic 540s? There's none. The Outlast was another great gun. They could have done something with this, but this gun is sunset. 540s are very limited in our current loot pool. There's almost none. What could have Bungie done differently? Weapons like the Lincoln Green are just sitting in this collections. Throw some random rolls on it and send it off into the game. The Lincoln Green is a 540. Now you're like, okay, what about Iron Banner weapons? The Time Worn SPIRE. This is another 540 weapon, which again, Bungie could have just put in the loot pool and send off. Now, again, I don't want to touch up too much onto the vendor refresh because I feel like vendor refresh is something we are lacking. But hear me out. Weapons like the Autumn Wind could have been part of a vendor refresh. Take the Harsh Truce SMG out of the game and put this one in there. Take the Last Perdition out of the game and put this one in there. There's a lot of weapons that could have been brought back. A lot of 390s that could have been into the kinetic slot alongside the Hailing Confusion. This is another one right here. The Marine was another one. These are just weapons that came into the game for one season and they went away. Speaking of like SMGs, now I know not a lot of people are fans of SMGs, but we have the Imminent Storm, which is a 750 RPM SMG. This is by far one of my favorite SMGs to use in year one. Now, moving over to Trials. A lot of people were disappointed in Trials because number one, these are weapons we already had. These are weapons that we have already. If you got a God roll, there's no point in playing Trials. Now, people are going to say, well, what about the Adept versions? The Adept versions are nice, but in my opinion, the Summoner is still a Summoner. I'm going to use the Summoner until whatever, I get bored of it, right? But it's still the Summoner. I got a God roll last season, and sure, the power limit is going to be different. Mine sunsets a season before this one sunsets. But what Bungie should have done, and again, it goes back into the loot pool. It goes back into their weapon pool here. Bungie should have just gone here and said, you know what? You guys want a hand cannon or we'll go pulse rifles. You know what? We're dropping a brand new pulse rifle, the Darkness before. Don't even rework the gun, paint it black and gold. Boom, you have a brand new Trials weapon, something people want to grind for. The Long Walk back. In my opinion, the Long Walk would have been a great sniper to put in the game. It's I believe a kinetic sniper. It's a 90 RPM. I mean, it's a 72 RPM high impact, but it's got a great zoom. A lot of people didn't get this gun. Put some black and gold on it and put it out to the world. All right, so getting into the last topic, a lot of people don't have the Fill-Winter's Lie. A lot of people are probably never going to get the Astral Horizon. And if you see the current loophole, we didn't get many weapons. We got some slug shotguns for the connect slot. And if you go to Europa, the same, style weapons of this one here, we're going to have another slug shotgun for the energy slot. Now that limits us to very few weapons in the energy slot you can grind for right now. But in my opinion, it's not the archetype people like. And again, don't get me wrong, it's still an awesome gun to use. I have fun with it. But dropping more weapons in the loot pool could really have players play more often, grind more often, right? So let's get into some weapons that Bungie could have been utilizing, which is going to be something like the shotguns. We have the Balligant, which they could have brought back. Hey, remember all those gunsmith parts you have? Where the gunsmith materials, boom. You can drop a few in there and get the Balligant you want. You know what? Do bounties for him and you have the opportunity to get the Balligant. Awesome. Hey, you know that DEADPAN delivery that a lot of people never used in season 1? We dropped it back into the game. It is specific to Strike playlist. It is specific for this. This is the thing. In Destiny, players love weapons. It would be a lie to tell you that players play Destiny for their armor. The armor's nice. You see my character looks pretty cool. But in my opinion, armor's armor. Next season, I'm going to wear this and I don't care. Like this one here, I think it maxes out 1360. Cool, in a couple seasons, it's over. Players play Destiny for the weapons they get. Every weapon they get is it's a part of them until it sunsets. Something like this right here, this is my favorite high impact hand cannon aside from the Sturm that I'm using right now. This right here is a part of me. I got this gun and I'm going to utilize it every second I can. And that's the thing. I feel like this is my gun. When I see this roll, it's mine. Players play Destiny for the weapons. They don't play Destiny for the armor. They do sometimes, but for the most part, it's going to be for the weapons they can grind for. I really hope, and again, if you guys agree with me, comment down below. Do you wish some of these weapons came back? The Battle Scar was another weapon that didn't have its time to shine. We're looking at something like the Autumn Wind, the Time Worn Spire, the Marine. There's so many weapons here that just went unused. The Heart of Time is a weapon that I wish would have had more time to shine. Shoot, keep the same role and just make it light level. You know, make us grind it all over. If you're making us grind reissues, make us grind reissues, because again, Requiem 45 is another fast firing pulse rifle that we could be utilizing. I know, guys, it's a little bit of rant, something different here. I've been working on 2 more videos, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, in my opinion, on the current weapons. The current weapons, in my opinion, they're okay. But a lot of these weapons I have already. A lot of these weapons I can dismantle and not care. This is Subsistence Chapter Trigger. Oh well, it didn't bother me. I didn't grind for that weapon. It dropped for me. A lot of weapons that Bungie could be utilizing, they're just sitting here. They're sitting here doing absolutely nothing. They're sitting here gathering dust. In my opinion, Bungie should really take advantage of that. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you in the next video.